This is Kevin Stefanski showing you once and for all, I didn't want to draft him. I don't like his attitude. I don't like his presence on social media. He won't even speak Shedeur's name in these interview sessions.
The Cleveland Browns are in the middle of a crisis so volatile it's beginning to redefine what player power looks like in the NFL. On the surface, it may appear to be a classic case of a rookie quarterback displeased with his role, but beneath the surface, this saga exposes something much deeper. It is a clash between tradition and disruption, between a head coach resisting change and a new generational talent who is already commanding the respect of teammates, fans, and insiders across the league. At the center of the storm stands Kevin Stefanski, the head coach who once brought order to the chaos, now struggling to maintain control of the very team he helped elevate. The real turning point didn't happen during a live game or a press conference. It was during a closed-off team meeting where Shedeur Sanders stood his ground, reportedly questioning play-calling strategies and asking why the team was refusing to adapt to a modern offense built around his skill set. This wasn't arrogance, it was frustration. A frustration shared by multiple players who began venting privately about what they saw as outdated decisions and an unwillingness to evolve. The tension didn't stay private for long. Word got out, and suddenly whispers turned into network headlines. Once fans caught wind of it, everything changed. Reports flooded social media. Clips of Sanders dominating practice but staying on the sidelines during crucial drives resurfaced. Social media was quick to point fingers, and the majority of fingers pointed at Stefanski. While some defended his approach as disciplined leadership, others argued he was running the Browns like it was 1996, refusing to hand over the keys to the most promising rookie quarterback in franchise history. And to make matters worse, insiders claim Sanders had privately requested a trade if things didn't change. This was no longer just internal friction. This was a full-on organizational shift. The rookie quarterback wasn't just part of the future. He was becoming the leverage point. Conversations in the front office grew tense. Ownership began to question whether the coach or the quarterback was truly the one shaping the locker room. And that's when people realized it. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just playing for snaps. He was reshaping the identity of the Cleveland Browns from the inside out. And Stefanski had a decision to make: evolve or be left behind.
There's just a principle involved here where at least you acknowledge that by default, just by default, Flacco is now gone. Shedeur moved up a slot. He's second on the depth chart. He fears his father. He fears that Dion, if Shedeur ever gets a hold of the starting quarterback job in Cleveland, that before you know it, Dion will replace Kevin Stefanski as the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Stefanski is now saying, over my dead body will Shedeur get a shot.
No matter how talented a coach is, once the locker room shifts, the season is already lost. That's the brutal truth facing Kevin Stefanski right now. For weeks, players had been quietly murmuring about the lack of communication, the questionable calls, and the constant benching of Shedeur Sanders, despite his clear preparation and growing support. But it wasn't until one specific practice that everything changed. That's when the veterans, the voices that mattered most in the locker room, openly sided with Sanders. Things came to a head during a 7-on-7 drill where Sanders reportedly outperformed the starting unit with ease. Cameras weren't rolling, but witnesses claimed the field went dead silent when Shedeur stared toward the coaching staff as if to ask, "What else do I need to do?" That moment broke through every layer of excuse, every cliche about earning your spot, every reason Stefanski had given for keeping him off the field. The players saw it, and the coaching staff saw the players watching. Authority shifted before anyone said a word. By the next day, the whispers were over. Team leaders approached Stefanski, according to sources, and asked directly about his plan for Shedeur. The response was vague, recycled, and just made things worse. A rift had formed. Des Bryant once said, "You can't fake locker room energy," and this energy was real, growing and hungry for change. Within days, anonymous quotes surfaced in the media, calling the system rigid, old school, and even disconnected from what the team needs. That didn't come from fans, that came from inside the building. Stefanski still tried to maintain control through discipline, through structure, through order. But the problem wasn't discipline, it was direction. Players felt the team was wasting time, wasting talent, and wasting the one season where everything could have come together. It didn't take long for fans to catch on. #Free Shedeur began trending during prime NFL coverage. Videos breaking down the dispute hit millions of views. Even national analysts began openly questioning whether the Browns were sabotaging their own future. What Stefanski didn't realize was that Sanders had already won the locker room, not through drama, not through threats, but through professionalism, poise, and production. Sometimes control isn't taken, it's given, and the Browns gave Shedeur their trust, while Stefanski quietly watched it slip through his fingers. This was no longer football politics. This was the fall of an era, and the beginning of something unstoppable. Shedeur Sanders didn't walk into Cleveland like a typical rookie. He wasn't loud. He didn't try to command authority through force or flash. He did it the way true leaders always do, by showing up, mastering the playbook, outworking everyone in the room, and letting his performance speak for itself. What makes this situation explosive isn't that a rookie is asking for control. It's that he already has it, and the franchise just hasn't acknowledged it yet. From day one, Sanders was prepared like a veteran. Players privately noted how he would stay late after practice running drills with receivers who weren't even starters. He dissected game film publicly and privately, showing an understanding of defenses that caught even assistant coaches off guard. And most importantly, he connected, not just with the offense, but with the entire roster. Backup linemen, special teams players, even defensive captains saw something in Shedeur they didn't see in any other rookie. They saw leadership, and they responded, but the system that should have nurtured that gift did the opposite. It held him back. Initially, Sanders stayed quiet about it and remained respectful, but eventually, the whispers made their way to ownership, and when you're the face of a new era, those whispers turn into meetings. Several insiders say Shedeur communicated clearly in those conversations. If the plan isn't evolving, I will. That wasn't arrogance, that was strategy, that was survival. The craziest part, Sanders doesn't even need to force his way out. The NFL is already circling. Franchises like Denver, Atlanta, and Las Vegas are supposedly prepared to make blockbuster offers if the Browns don't fix their internal chaos. Every team wants a player who can win games, lead a locker room, and build a culture. Sanders is that package, and he's proving it without even stepping on the field. That's what makes him dangerous, and what makes this revolution unstoppable. Beyond all the drama, something deeper is happening here. This isn't just a rookie trying to play. This is a blueprint for the future of football. A blueprint where talent, leadership, and pressure can shift entire organizations. Shedeur Sanders didn't just step into the league, he disrupted it. And the Browns must decide whether they'll be part of the future or just another lesson in what happens when a coach underestimates the power of a new generation. When ownership gets involved behind the scenes, it means the situation has gone beyond coaching. It means the franchise itself is at stake. And according to multiple sources close to the Browns front office, that's exactly what happened the moment Shedeur Sanders' concerns reached the desk of Jimmy Haslam. This wasn't just about play calling. It was about vision, about choosing whether to build around the future or cling to the past. Haslam succeeded in business because he knows when momentum is shifting. And in this case, the momentum wasn't with Stefanski anymore. It was with Sanders. Reports say Haslam and high-ranking executives began scheduling meetings with camp staff, development personnel, and even external consultants to understand the dynamics in the building. And beneath all the fluff, one truth became impossible to ignore. The players trusted Shedeur more than they trusted their own head coach. Stefanski tried desperately to stabilize the situation, meeting after meeting, film review after film review. But no matter how many diagrams he drew up, the team no longer believed he was adjusting fast enough. The new wave of football demands flexibility, collaboration, and player empowerment. The old model, do what the coach says and stay quiet, is no longer accepted, especially when the quarterback might be the most talented player in the building. Eventually, ownership had to face a decision that could define the next decade of the franchise. Support the coach, who once took them to the playoffs, or support the rookie whose influence had already begun rewriting the culture from within. And based on what we've seen since, from personnel moves to practice rotations, the answer is obvious. The balance has shifted, the future has arrived, and the head coach is running out of time. This isn't a story about rebellion, it's a story about leadership. Sanders isn't breaking the Browns, he's rebuilding them in real time. And while some might fear that kind of power from a rookie, history proves that the greatest eras in sports always begin when vision overrides ego. If the Browns embrace the change, they might finally elevate beyond mediocrity. If they don't, they'll lose the one player who could have saved them. With every day that passes, the Browns find themselves at a crossroads. Rebuild everything around the future or watch their culture crash under the weight of outdated thinking. And the entire league is watching. every analyst, every scout, every team that ever missed out on drafting a franchise quarterback. They're all silently monitoring Cleveland, waiting for the moment the team makes its biggest mistake or its boldest move. Right now, everything hangs in the balance. The locker room has already chosen its leader. Ownership seems open to evolution. Media and fans have fully embraced the shift. The only thing standing in the way of a new era is whether the organization has the courage to commit, because once they do, everything changes. The playbook, the coaching staff, the entire identity of Browns football. The craziest part, all of this is happening before Shedeur Sanders becomes the official starter. That reality alone shows how powerful this moment is. When rookies control the narrative, you're not watching a player, you're watching a movement. A movement that may redefine how NFL franchises operate and how athletes carve their path to greatness. The Cleveland Browns thought they were building a football team. What they ended up building is a cultural powder keg. And at the center of it all stands a young quarterback, calm, composed, and ready to lead. Whether the organization steps into the future or clings to the past will define not just the next season, but the legacy of everyone involved. This isn't just sports drama, this is history in motion. And if you're watching right now, you're witnessing the evolution of the NFL before your very eyes. The only question left is who will be brave enough to stay for the full ride? When the dust settles, only one thing will matter: how Cleveland responds. The Shedeur Sanders situation isn't just a scandal or a controversy. It has become the blueprint for how young stars seize control in a league that often tries to resist their influence. From the outside, it may look like chaos, but on the inside, it's change, it's transition. It's the beginning of a new standard in professional sports. Shedeur didn't win the locker room by force. He earned it by being more prepared than anyone else in the building. That's why veterans are backing him. That's why analysts are watching him. That's why fans are already ready to defend him if he walks away. He's not just the Browns' quarterback. He's their future, and everyone knows it, except the old system that still thinks control is more valuable than collaboration. No matter what happens next, whether Stefanski stays, whether Shedeur gets traded, whether the Browns collapse or rise, one thing is clear: the league has changed forever. The next generation of athletes isn't waiting for permission. They're taking control. They're redefining systems. And if the old school can't keep up, the new school will take their place. This story won't end quietly. There will be headlines. There will be pressure. There will be millions of opinions. But one fact remains: the only person in this entire narrative who hasn't cracked under pressure is the rookie who was supposed to stay silent. Shedeur Sanders hasn't backed down once. Not from coaching systems, not from media narratives, not from trade rumors. And that alone tells you everything you need to know. This moment is bigger than Cleveland. It's bigger than football. It's the beginning of a cultural shift. And if you're locked in, if you're watching closely, then you know exactly where this is heading. So stay tapped in, because this story is still being written. The ripple effects of this drama are now reaching every corner of the NFL. What started as internal tension within the Browns has now ignited conversations inside locker rooms, front offices, and media booths all around the league. Executives are talking, agents are strategizing, and veteran quarterbacks are quietly acknowledging that, whether they like it or not, a new era is here. Not everyone will say it out loud, but privately the league has taken notice. The power dynamic has shifted, and it began in Cleveland with a rookie who didn't even need to take over a game to take over the narrative. For the first time in decades, player empowerment isn't just a conversation. It's shaped by a quarterback who hasn't even made his first full season start. And that fact alone is terrifying for the old guard. Shedeur Sanders represents something bigger, a player raised in an era of social media, branding, and business savvy, a player who understands leverage, a player who knows that the fans, the locker room, and the future are on his side, and not that of a stubborn old school system. That kind of awareness used to take veterans years to develop. Now it walks into the league already polished and powerful, and every quarterback watching knows this changes everything. No more waiting patiently behind a starter who's struggling. No more biting your tongue while coaches run outdated schemes. No more sacrificing your prime years just to learn the system. Young quarterbacks now have a blueprint, and that blueprint is unfolding in real time. If the Browns eventually lose Sanders, they won't just lose a player. They'll lose an era-defining opportunity, and they'll be the cautionary tale that every fan references for the next decade. Meanwhile, teams like the Saints, Broncos, Falcons, and Raiders are already making moves. These aren't just trade discussions. These are organizational strategies being built around the idea that Shedeur Sanders might hit the market. And if he does, he'll be the biggest player acquisition since Peyton Manning. The energy is shifting, and even if the Browns don't want to hear it, they can't silence it anymore. But the most fascinating part, through all the noise, through all the rumors, through all the speculation, Sanders has remained poised. He hasn't fed the media, he hasn't escalated drama, he hasn't thrown anyone under the bus. That composure, that maturity, is exactly why teams want him. And it's exactly why the Browns should have built around him from the start. So what comes next? That's the question the entire NFL is asking. Some see a revolution, some see a mistake. But everyone sees one thing. This isn't just the story of Shedeur Sanders, this is the story of a new generation demanding the league evolve. As always, stay locked in, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you stay ahead of every twist in this game-changing saga.